Hi, this is Comet Troy coming to you from Linden Camp, 35 acres I purchased 5 minutes southeast of Linden, Tennessee in 2021. Today is July 20th. It happens to be my oldest son's birthday today. He's 30. Happy birthday, Josh. Love you. So it got to 99 degrees here today, so I had to turn my air conditioner down really low inside so I could wear my Comet Troy, Linden Camp Ranger outfit, to look in the correct form. So I hope you are all enjoying that. Originally, I had planned to release all the excavation in one video, but it ended up becoming too long. So I spoke to my editing department, and we decided to break this video up into a mini-series of 4 weeks. Not that it will take us 4 weeks to release it, but who knows. But 4 weeks of actual excavation work calendar-wise. So week 1 is going to cover the tree clearing, the land clearing, and the initial excavation work. And that's going to be in this video you're watching right here. Week 2, the next video, is going to cover more of the excavation work, or the dirt work as they call it. Week 3 is going to be more of the finish work, finishing the driveways, laser leveling the build pads, the RV sites, and whatnot. And then week 4 is a different land contractor that we brought in to do 3 things: clear the area for the septic field lines, make a build pad or build site for an outbuilding, and also make a path down deep into the Hollers for what I'm calling a rustic campsite. Those are the 4 episodes of the mini-series. So what we're going to show here in April is what Linden Camp looked like when I purchased it. So, here's some video or a photo of that, and then how we turned it from that into this. So, quite a drastic improvement there. Now, this was all done in about, it was 5.5 days of excavation work that was spread out over a 3-week period. So this has actually been one of my most challenging videos to produce to date, and I'll tell you why. So it was challenging because I took so much footage. I literally had hours and hours and hours of drone footage and on the ground footage and the track hoe and the bulldozer and just everything. I had so much footage to wade through to find the best of the best in this video, and that's what we're going to show today. So I've been procrastinating it, and finally you're going to get to see that. Towards the end of this series, we're going to answer the number 1 question that I get all the time, is how much did all this cost? So I'm not going to share the exact invoice prices and line items of what I was charged, but I'm going to speak in some generalities, and we'll answer that towards the end of the series. Not in this episode, but towards the end of the series. I'm not sure if we'll have that in week 3 or week 4 yet, but we'll definitely have that in one of the later series to after we kind of do a summation of the whole project. So you won't want to miss that. So before we get started, I need to give some disclaimers. I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax guy. I'm not a realtor in the state of Tennessee. I'm not a broker in the state of Tennessee. I'm basically a nobody. I'm a landowner. Yes, I do have a brokerage license in Wisconsin. That doesn't apply. It's not recognized by Tennessee. So what I'm saying in my disclosure is that you're really on your own to do your own due diligence. And the stuff that I present in my videos is strictly my opinion, and you need to do your own due diligence, talk to your own attorneys, get your own legal assistants, get your own tax people, accountants, whatever. Don't be blaming any stupid decisions on me just because I said it in a video. So with that, let's get right to it. So if you watch, the last video on hiring a contractor, I felt that I had alienated my contractors by wasting their time and trying to get, things too hammered out back in, February and March. So I was coming on site in April. I was still in Louisiana at the end of March. And I reached out to my contractors. I'm like, hey, don't worry about, that big proposal I wanted and all that. I just want someone to come out and, you know, clear a few trees by the road, you know, level me off a little area where I can park my RV and, you know, be on site without worrying about getting stuck on the property. So that is really the expectation that I went into bringing an excavation contractor on site. So it turns out that, you know, the contractor had more availability than just simply making an RV pad, which would have been a half a day worth of work probably. So the contractor asked me how much of the project I wanted to do, and I'm like, well, hell, I'll take whatever you got. Just let's do something. They show up on the first day, and actually, you know, I got a little bit of video here of me talking before they show up. So let's go ahead and watch that. So the contractors are on their way to work this land and take this berm down, take down a bunch of trees. Now I spent a good day here in January marking out my build site with these stakes that you see behind me, and all those have to come out, and I don't want to lose my positioning, so I decided to go back to the old-fashioned way, and I have this network of strings laid out here so I can put these poles back to where they were before the guys started their work. So kind of excited. I'm waiting for the contractors to arrive. As we zoom in here to the side of the semi-tractor, you can see that we hired Swarey Excavating. I really enjoyed hiring this vendor because they're local to Linden, Tennessee, and so are we. We're both in Linden, and I like to keep our vendor dollars local. Swarey Excavating fit the bill. All right, we're going to talk about some land clearing 101 when it comes to tree removal. There's basically 4 decisions that have to be made that you'll make with your excavating contractor before they arrive on site, and there's probably some decisions that you'll make once they do arrive on site. And it goes along the varieties of how, you know, what and where. Number 1, you know, how are we going to take down the trees? Number 2, what are we going to do with the root balls? Are we going to leave them in, or are we going to pull out the root ball and the roots? And what to do with the trees is number 3. And then the last and final question we need to figure out is, you know, where to dispose of them. So in the videos today, we decided to, number 1, pluck the trees out of the ground with a track hoe, and also knock them over with a bulldozer, and then the track hoe could take them, and then take the trees, shake the root ball so the dirt falls off of them, stack them all up in a big bonfire, and, you know, burn them. So that's what we decided to do in this first phase. And then, you know, after the pile was burned down to a manageable size, then we made a little hole off the side of the holler, pushed the debris down into the hole, and then, you know, buried it and let it, you know, return back to nature that way. So nothing was pushed into the hollers that could be helped, and it actually worked out, you know, pretty well for this phase of our land clearing. So one of the first things we had to decide is where to build the bonfire, and we decided that we wanted to build it kind of off the road. There was an already cleared area, as you can see here, on the other side of that tree, near the road, where we could have built the bonfire, but we decided we wanted to build it back in a little bit so we could be away from the build site and, you know, continue to build those build pads. Now here you see that the track hoe is kind of in the middle of the forest, building the bonfire in the middle, and then, you know, working his way out, clearing trees from around the perimeter of the bonfire, making it larger and larger and larger, and, you know, piling the trees up in the middle here. And here you see him placing a tree on the bonfire. And, you know, one of the things that they do when they pluck the trees out of the ground is they, you know, try to get as much dirt off of the root balls as they can. So sometimes you'll see them, you know, dropping the trees, shaking the trees, or whatever. Here the fire isn't lit yet, so we're just, you know, getting the trees piled up to start that bonfire. So here the track hoe is, you know, plucking trees out of the ground like they're weeds, and I think it's pretty impressive. And he'll set it down here, he'll knock it over, and I think he goes and grabs another one, and, you know, they'll pluck a few trees out in very quick succession and pile them all up together, and then they'll process those trees all together as, you know, one big bunch to, you know, build the fire. It's, you know, the LobLolly pines on the land don't have a taproot, so they're pretty easy to pull out of the ground, as you can see here. And, you know, it's literally like going to a garden pulling weeds out, just at a lot bigger scale. It was just kind of amazing watching this the first time. And then the bulldozer also can help knock some trees over here. Here you see the dozer pushing some trees, or knocking some trees over and then pushing them to his brother who's operating the backhoe. And then here's the brother scraping some dirt off of the root balls, so that when that tree's loaded up on the fire, it doesn't have all that dirt to go through, and more of the stumps will actually burn. So that, you know, that's one of the things you want to look for when you select a contractor as well. You'll want to, you know, make sure that they're getting as much of that dirt off of the root balls as possible. So here he is dropping it down a few times, and, you know, getting that dirt off as much as possible. One thing I discovered that was kind of neat about Swarey Excavating is definitely a family-owned and run business. Melvin Swarey started the business several decades ago, and his three sons grew up in the business that, you know, worked the business. He has a fourth son that does IT like I do, so that's pretty cool to me as well. But it was really neat seeing, you know, how the family really worked together as one family unit. It's like they were all connected, you know, mentally to each other. Now I know they have two-way radios and they can actually talk to everybody, but you can just sense beyond that they each kind of knew what the other one was going to be doing, where they were going to be, and it was a very cool dynamic to witness firsthand. So I just wanted to share that, you know, with my viewers, and I just thought that was pretty cool to see. All right, and here's the bonfire. It's been built up pretty good, and it's finally lit. The track hoe is now in the front of, you know, helping with the chert. There we see a little bit of flame coming out of the fire. Here comes, this is one of my favorite shots too, where that tree just flops on over on top and on top of the pile, and then he picks it up and just tosses it around. Oh, here's one of my favorite clips. Reminds me of Terminator from the 80s, 84, where the bucket is still smoking and smoldering as it's sitting there. It just reminds me of Terminator. Pretty cool stuff. So, a lot of good progress in that first day. Here you see the dozer operator. He can't level the pad yet, so what he's doing is he's piling up some trees and pushing them to his brother, who loads them onto the fire with the track hoe. This is the kind of teamwork I'm talking about, and it was amazing. Here's the one brother knocking over the trees. Now this is where I originally wanted the RV pad, so this is kind of by the road, the north side, and this is where my RV is sitting today, here in July, is right about where the dozer is now, or at least the power pole is there in that location. So that was kind of the main work that was happening with the track hoe and the dump truck and the bulldozer. We also had a skid steer on the property to do some of the smaller excavation work. One of the main things I wanted done was to have the driveway scraped. There was a good solid foundation underneath. Once you get it below that topsoil, but I kept getting stuck, and there was water, mud puddles, which if you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. So, one of my objectives for the first day was to, scrape all of that topsoil, that Tennessee mud off the top of the driveway. And unfortunately, I don't have video to show you here, but it really ended up nice. So the first objective was really to get rid of the berm on the front of the property by the road. So that had a lot of topsoil that we had to haul away first. So what you see here is the track hoe loading up the dump truck with that topsoil, and we're actually hauling that over to my other lot 36. And you have a good track hoe operator. Watch his brother. The arm never stops moving. So you can tell when you have someone that's experienced, it's just one fluid motion of, dump, and, the arm is constantly moving like it's an extension of your arm. It's just amazing, watching these guys work. Now here we are at the other property, lot 36. So this is where we're dumping the topsoil that came from lot 24. That was, quite a bit of slope there, so we, repurposed some of that dirt to build up that lot. And again, you'll see that, this dump truck is constantly moving. The dump box is still coming down as he's pulling away on the road. Just amazing of watching these boys work. And then now here we're back at, the main site, kind of a drone footage looking down, where we're again loading up the dump truck, getting rid of the topsoil, so we can, once the topsoil is hauled away, then we can start working on the chert underneath it. So, oh boy, that was a lot of work we got done in just one day. We got the equipment on site, got it unloaded. We decided, what to do with the trees, where to start the bonfire. We cleared, a good acre of trees at least. Got the bonfire started and got the driveway scraped. We got, topsoil hauled out. I don't know how many dump trucks we hauled over to the other property. At one point I told the guys, I'm like, what, let's stop hauling that topsoil over to the other property. I want some here. So they ended up, hauling it, towards the back of my property and dumping it into a pile for later use. So a lot of work on the first day of excavation. So here we are on the second day of the Contractors. It's Friday. I'm excited. I recorded some video on that day, which I find kind of entertaining. Now you have to remember, this is April 8th, and I decided that I was going to spend a whole month on the property, off the grid. So no electricity, no water, no sewer. Just what I had in the RV. So I got defeated quite a bit, and there's a lot of challenges, and there's some videos on that. So this video kind of speaks to not running out of coach batteries. And in this clip, you'll see me standing on the new driveway. So let's go ahead and watch this introduction, from that April 8th day while I was on site. I just want to apologize in advance. There's a lot of wind noise in this next clip, but I feel it was kind of valuable, so I wanted to keep it in there. Please bear with us. Today is April 8th. I woke up this morning to 42 degrees and cloudy. It's a balmy day, and I didn't run out of coach batteries for once. So I think I'm really learning how to conserve the batteries. Last night after the contractors left, I went around the woods and with some stretchy nylon tape that contractors use to mark areas off. So I went around the woods and roped off areas of trees I wanted to keep, so these guys could keep going and take out more trees and get this area, this front half of the, not even a half, this front 8 acres of the 35 acres prepared for a mini campground. Originally I was planning on, I was going to be just happy just getting an RV site in near the road, but it looks like I'm well on my way to making my first 3 to 4 campsites here. It's exciting. It's the contractor's second day on site and they're making really good progress. They tried to get the fire going yesterday, but ultimately it didn't materialize into the big bonfire I was hoping for. So today's priority is getting that fire going and getting these trees burned. And looks like they're making a lot of progress, some good progress on it today. So I'm gonna get my hot dogs, marshmallows, chocolate, and graham crackers for some s'mores later. Although they told me I would need probably about a 50-foot pole to get close enough to the fire once it gets going. So I'm kind of excited. We'll see how this materializes throughout the day. Well, the bulldozer is getting close, so I have to move my campsite again. The mud is back a little bit. I gotta back the RV up now. Hopefully I don't get stuck again. So right behind me is where I was planning on putting my campsite just a week ago. And I had no idea that we'd get this far along in clearing the land. And now I'm starting to rethink where to put my campsite. I really don't want to be up by the road. And with the area opened up, maybe I can get some electricity back in further. So this project really kind of had a life of its own. I mean, my original expectation was to, build an RV site by the road and, be able to get my RV in the path without getting stuck. So that's kind of where we started out, RV by the road, doing the hunting path. And then, I really was pleased with the way the progress was going. We ended up getting the new driveway built all the way back in, the turnaround area made, and it was clear that I was going to be able to enter my property on the new driveway. So I'm like, well, since I got the guys here, let's build some RV sites on the old hunting path. So that's what you see here. I have a few clips of that. The bulldozer kind of went down into some of the hollers and cleared some of the trees down from there and brought them up. And then the other thing that I know that's very important for RVers is level pads. So Marvin asked me, he's like, well, do you want your RV sites eyeball level or do you want them laser leveled? I'm like, I think we're going to do them laser leveled because that'd be a good thing for our marketing material, because that's like the #1 thing that RVers typically want is level RV sites. So they actually got out their laser equipment and laser leveled our RV sites. They're all 20 feet wide and 45 feet long, laser leveled. So I'm pretty happy about that. The contractors got here yesterday at 8 a.m. Worked 8 hours yesterday. They got an hour left today for 8 hours, and they just broke through. So on my whatever side, my left, is that your right, I'm not sure. That's the old path that was here forever. And they just broke through the new path over here on the other side that goes all the way up to the road. That's going to be the new main road. And the old path is going to be pulled through campsites, RV sites. So there's going to be 4 of them along there. And you're going to come off the main road that way. To my right, I guess your left, and there's several cutouts in the trees and down the middle where you exit and enter each of the 4 RV pads. So just a little update. This is Comet Troy and the fire is finally going behind me. Get out the weenies, marshmallows, and chocolate for s'mores. Check this bad boy out. They loaded this fire with trees, whole trees. Pretty incredible. So, yeah, a lot was done in day 2. So the fire went out on Thursday. They got it relit on Friday. And then I was wondering, the fire's going good. It's certainly not going to keep burning till Monday. So lo and behold, I look out and here one of the Swarey men came out and fired up the track hoe and tended to the fire. So one of my objectives after the contractors left on Friday and had cleared the land, cleared the topsoil, was to have me come in and restake where the building was going to go. And oh boy, was this a challenge. I tried to record it all with my camera. I could do this and it was supposed to start the recording. This was supposed to stop the recording. Now here I am trying to get it to go and I'm getting really frustrated because it's not working. And I think I ended up spending more time with the damn camera than I did staking. I did get it done. And, there's me trying to get it going with the peace sign, and oh my God, what a pain in the butt. The camera kept falling over, but I did finally get it done, and it was quite a challenge, but I was definitely had a sense of accomplishment, laying everything back out on Sunday. So that was our land clearing, and stick around for week 2, which is coming up, where we're going to be moving dirt from point A to point B, moving chert, and just basically leveling out the build site and the whole property. If you find those videos helpful, subscribe, like, ring the bell so you get notified of more content. That's what keeps us going to make more content, so we appreciate your support. And I will see you in week 2. Well, the track hole seems to be down right now. There's the fire pit where it's supposed to be. Well, I'm sad to say I just backed into my first